told me today. I'm going to share with you in this video what God told me today. We're going to go for a little walk and then I'm going to share. But before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about life and about all that is appearing. And it is linked, trust. So it's going to be a little bit windy up here, so I might have to find a little space underneath a tree. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We're just going live, multi-streaming. So we'll wait till a few people come in and we can check if the sound is working okay, because I haven't used this new setup until now. But today we're going to share what God told me today. Oh, we're going to be able to see the ocean. Let's see. So yeah, if it gets too windy, we'll be able to go under the beautiful shelter of this magnificent being. Oh, this beautiful pine tree. So, let us see. So, good morning, namaste, welcome. This is so the wind's coming from that way. See if I can find a little space. This soul being is coming through there a little. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Like some rays of the Son of God coming through there. So we'll just sit there. Underneath that tree. It'll be good. It's going to be too windy out there. Yes. Beloved being. So, everything that appears is appearing in a way that seems like there's a world and there's an objective reality. There's something appearing to me. There's something happening. The sun rises, the world turns, people come, people go. I have certain feelings in the body, certain thoughts appear. There's a continuity where it seems like I wake up every day and my story is continuous. Things that appeared yesterday seem to appear and repeat today. Certain ideas, belief systems, memories, desires, aversions seem to stay. And it seems to be consistent. So if you're joining live, good morning Katrina, if you're joining live, could you just let me know that the sound is okay, that the wind's not too, I don't have the wee windbreakery thing. Just let me know. We're underneath this beautiful, magnificent being here, look. Say hello. Say hello to our large friend. So yeah, just put in the comments if you're joining live that the sound is okay and that the wind is not blowing. It's not that heavy, but so it appears like there's a continuity of reality. It appears that I wake up, my name, my history, my body, my what is appearing seems to follow chronological, logical, chrono is time, logical means it makes sense to the mind, chronological, chronos, like the god of time, logical, makes sense. So time makes sense, chronological at 444. And it seems to be that, the pieces fit. Yesterday I went to bed as this 44-year-old man, and woke up as this 44-year-old plus 1 day man. Same sort of belief system, same ideas, same thoughts, same general shape of the body, the world. When you went to sleep, the world was a certain way, the room was a certain way, the bed was a certain way. And when you woke up, it seems to be the same way. It seems like it's logical, chronological. The time seems to be logical. That it follows in time seems to be logical. Then you could have an experience of something like deja vu, where you're just in a circumstance and suddenly it feels like, I recognize this. I know what's going to be said here. This feels familiar. As what's appearing is like this has happened before. And so that's not chronological. It's not logical in time. How could something that seems to be appearing now at 555, how can it logically feel like this has happened before, or I recognize this, or I know what's going to happen, or it's just like this has happened before? So that's not logical. It's not chronological. It's not logical in time. It doesn't follow the logical path of past, moving through this thing we call present, into this thing we call future. And then there'll be moments when there's 24 hours in a day, and there's days when you're doing something you absolutely love and you're passionate about, and you're with people that you love, and the environment is good and the weather is good, and whatever sorts of conditions we place on it, that everything's well, and time just seems to just go so quickly. I remember definitely on the equinox last week for me, like it was like hours were going by like seconds. It seemed so fast. And it wasn't necessarily that I was doing this something that when you get lost in time, when you're really focused on something, you're really engaged with something, you're really passionate about something, time seems to just like, it can slow down, it can speed up, it depends. But so that's not logical, that's not chronological, it doesn't follow logic of time. It doesn't, why an hour is an hour, a second is a second, or is it? How do we have experiences that are not logical to time? Yet still, we wake up every day, we agree that it's March the 23rd, and it's only because it's on that screen that I can see that in this thing that I would know that. We all generally agree it's March the 23rd. It's like, I've had so many years, this body has so many years, and there's an agreed upon template. We agree that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. We agree that the world is turning, generally. But then we have these illogical experiences, irrational experiences, where time doesn't seem to follow that, where time seems to be malleable, or it seems to be something that's not fixed. And then we snap out of it, and then we're back into, I get up, I go to work, or I do whatever I've got to do, and I follow this logic of time, this chronological experience. Do you ever wonder why those experiences of deja vu, the experience of time slowing down or speeding up, or time just seeming like non-existent? I've never had this, but Elise had a moment where everything just like froze. She saw a feather on the ground. She bent down to pick it up. This is years ago when we just first met, and like literally everything just slowed, and then for a moment everything literally just stopped. It wasn't like a near death or anything like this. It was literally just she was bending down to pick up this black and white feather, and the whole world stopped. And you will have moments when you're doing something you don't like. You're with someone that pushes your buttons and triggers you all sorts of ways, or you're doing work, or you're in an environment that doesn't feed your soul, and an hour seems like a day. Do you ever wonder why that would be? Is time really, our experience, for those experiences that we're talking about are definitely the minority. Having deja vu, time speeding up like crazy, or time slowing down like crazy, or if, I don't know if any of you have had that frozen moment time. They're the minority of our experience. I would think I'm safe to say that. Let's say for this one, that's the minority. You can answer that question for you. So if we want to follow logic, we want to make it make sense, none of those make sense. They don't make sense. But we agree that the thing that happens in the majority does make sense, chronological. And these other things are anomalies, so the minority is an anomaly. Did you ever wonder how that could be? How could two people be in the same environment, let's say a workspace or something, someone's feeling really good and they love what they're doing, and someone else is miserable and they hate what they're doing. One 8-hour shift goes like a flash and the other is like an eternity. We can get really clear about this and really like tangible and practical to really see if that, if you follow it, you can really follow it with logic, follow it with mind. If that is true, and again, it's not like a theory. If in your experience you've experienced that, there must be a reason as to why you can experience that. Why is it possible that we can experience time differently? Is it possible that what we've logically believed about time is not true? So there's a little timer going in this video and it says 11 minutes and 20 seconds. So logically, it looks like this has been happening for 11 minutes. There's a beginning, a middle, and it's moving through this like continuous moving now into what we call the future. And our life is like we're born, we're a child, we're an adolescent, we're adult, old age, and then we get out. That's logical, it's chronological. But so much of this reality is based on, I am going to get to what God told me today. We just got taken into the tool of time. So much of what we experience is based on unquestioned assumptions. We just assume that, yes, it's 12 minutes 20. Of course, it's 12:21 when I look at that. 12:21, 21:12. It's just an unquestioned assumption that mosquitoes love me, and I love mosquitoes. And mosquito consciousness and minds are one. Everything that is appearing here appears through the lens of unquestioned assumptions. So I wake up, I unquestionably assume Martin, 44, woke up in this bed, the same one that he went to before. He's got certain traits, he's got certain ideas, he's got certain things that the ways of being, there's certain ways that he acts and talks, there's certain beings that are going to appear in that reality. It's assumed, it's an unquestioned assumption. What if we were to question all of our assumptions? What if we were to question every assumption that we've ever made? What if we questioned the solidity of the bed when you woke up? What if you questioned the belief that I have a certain history and what I think is my history and what I think about and what I believe is what is true? What if we question that? What if we question that unquestioned assumption? What if we chose to assume something completely different? What if we choose to assume that time is not what it is? Time is not constant for everyone, and time is malleable, and time is a tool. What if we assume that every breath is a death? Every time that we wake up, we can assume something different. We can begin to assume a new choice, a new way of being, a new way of seeing. What if we question the unquestioned assumption that everything is just the way it is because it's just the way it is? It's not, I don't have any choice in that. Because these subconscious, unquestioned assumptions are what create this reality. And when we say create the reality, it doesn't mean at 432, it doesn't mean that something is created out of nothing. It's like everything already exists, and an unquestioned assumption or a questioned assumption will reveal our version of what already exists. But what happens for us as humans, because we are the masters of limitations, we hold on to unconscious mostly, sometimes conscious, unquestioned assumptions that deliver to us the reality that is based on those unquestioned assumptions. So time happens in a certain way. This body will age. There's just the way things are. This is just the way things are. This is what my ancestors and my parents and my society has taught me and told me, so that must be the way it is. And because our experience reflects that, this reality is just it's like a big copy machine. What you assume, what you focus on, will be real. So then we come to our truths. And those truths are relative truths, but they are absolutely experienced as real because they reflect what we believe, what we see, what we focus on, what we will allow ourselves to see, what we will not allow ourselves to see. So in the analogy about the two people in the same job, one loves it, one hates it, one of them is allowing the blessing. Now we're going to get to what God said to me. Allowing the blessing of what is appearing to be their focus, and the other is focusing on the negative or what is wrong with what is appearing. And so the 8 hours for one being goes like a flash, and the 8 hours for the other being goes like an eternity. So this is now we're going to get to what God said to me today. God said to me today the same thing she said to you. The same thing he said to everyone. The same thing it's saying all of the time to everyone, everywhere. But in specificity, the message that appeared today was everyone has got something for you, but no one has everything for you. Everyone and everything has something for you, but no one or nothing has everything for you. In the broadest picture, everyone and everything is you. See the dog God? Don't know if that caught it in the camera. Little dog God, God dog was affirming. And so what does this mean? It means literally everything is you. Everything is God. Everything is God in expression. And everyone and everything has a gift for you, a message for you, an opportunity for you. And nothing has everything for you. Because it's so important that we don't get... Firstly, we want to separate God. We want to separate source. We want to say, these things I like, this thing is spiritual, this thing is good. I take all of those messages, all of those gifts, all of those expressions. This thing is bad, this thing is evil, this thing is not spiritual, this thing is horrible. So I'm not going to take the message, the gifts of that. That's the first part. But then the second part is, whenever we come to our truth, which is an evolving expression, is that no one or nothing can give us everything. There's a human longing to find that one thing, to find that someone, to find that something. There's that longing that whenever this happens, it'll be okay. Whenever I get this relationship, or I have this amount of money, or whenever I become healthy, or whenever this project comes to fruition, or whenever the world changes, or whenever I ascend to the fifth dimension, or whenever this condition changes, then everything will be fine. Everything will be good. Everything, heaven will be there then, instead of heaven being now here. And there's a human tendency to feel like there's this, that one thing can change, but it's like that one thing will have everything, rather than everything has one or two things or some things for me, but nothing has everything for me. Then we begin to see this world as literally everything and everyone appearing for us. But nothing that is appearing has everything for us, or nothing will be the end of it, or not. It's not. We put it in the future. We put something will happen, and then everything is good. The event, the event's going to happen. We're going to have this solar flash. We're going to ascend. I'm going to become awakened. I'm going to become enlightened, or this relationship will work, or I'll reach a certain financial freedom. I'll reach like the perfect body, or a beautiful body, or I'll reach acceptance of my body, or I'll reach acceptance of the world, or whenever the evil is out of the world, then I will be fine. We put our everything in one thing's conditions that need to change, rather seeing that everything, everywhere, everywhere, and every how, every now, all have a gift for us all of the time. Before you have asked, it is given. It's literally, literally everyone and everything, every is true. Whenever you cut your toe, that message that you got that triggered you, everything has a gift. Everything is a gift, and it is a continuous giving gift. It's never not giving. So if we begin to see that the sun, the leaves, the sewers, the broken bones, the war, the joy, the love, the marriage, the union, the high, the low, the here, the there, all is a gift of God to itself, experienced by you. And we let go of this chronological idea that one thing in the future, and again, that one thing can continuously change. Health, wealth, spirituality, body, condition of any kind, that one thing will have everything for me. So we put everything into that one moment, or that one condition, or that one thing that we want, or that one opportunity that will change everything. Paradoxically and annoyingly, it works. Because there are things that we appear, and momentarily we get something happens, something changes, and instantaneously it does feel like, and actually everything does change. We shift our perspective, we realize something, we remember something, someone comes into our life, someone goes out of our life, something shifts, and then the challenge is it actually works. Something appears and everything changes. But if we put our everything in that one thing, it's inevitable that it must fall away again. And then there has to be a new one thing to bring my everything. So this simple shift of perspective is everyone, everything, all of the time, everywhere, every when, every how, and every now has something for you, is something for you, is you, but it has something for you. It has a message for you, it has a gift for you. Everything, all of the time. And there's nothing that will give you everything. Because you are everything, because everything already is, nothing can give you everything. You can't be given what you already are. And because we're in these bodies in this world, we get to experience the everything through recognizing everyone and everything has a piece of the everything for us right now. And it's always giving all of the time. Even when we don't like it, even when we love it, even when it feels like too hard, too high, too low, too this, too that. Everything, everyone, everywhere, every how, every now has a piece of the whole for us. Otherwise, we cannot experience it because we already are that whole. It has to be broken into pieces and hidden in every single thing, and every one, and every condition, every high, every low, every trauma, every treasure, everything that ever will be experienced. A little piece of it is in everything and everyone. And if we don't accept that, and if we resist that, and we classify and put the good stuff over here and the bad stuff over there, and then we say, what I want is what is God or it's good, and what I don't want is not God and not good, and it's the devil or demon, whatever it has to be. We refuse to accept the gift of the peace of God, Peace, through the pieces of God, Pieces, which is in everything. The peace of God comes through the pieces of God, which is everywhere, and every how, and every now. So the invitation here is to look to where you have, firstly, we have rejected some of the pieces of God, thereby not experiencing the peace of God. And also look to where we have put our hopes, our desires, our wants, or on the opposing side, our fears, our lack, our loss, in one thing that seems to promise everything. In that one condition or person or event that seems to promise everything. The peace of God is in the pieces of God, which is everything everywhere. And no one piece or no one condition of that will give all of it. Because it can't. Because by definition we are it already. But the gift of this reality is being able to experience the peace of God through the pieces of God, including the mosquitoes. Okay, thank you, beautiful one. So good to have my back against a tree again. I used to do morning sessions against an old olive tree. Let me show you this beautiful pine tree. So, love to hear in the comments what God said to you today. And were you listening? Were you listening to God speaking to you in your partner who triggered you? Were you listening to God speaking to you when she told you it's going to rain today? Were you listening to God speaking to you when it turned up as a trauma? Were you listening to God when it turned up as the most beautiful thing you've ever seen through the voice of a child? Were you listening to God speaking to you through the wind? Were you listening to God speaking to you with a bill that needs paid? Were you listening to God speaking to you whenever the ground shook beneath your feet? Were you listening to what God was telling you whenever you felt fear or loss or lack? Whispers of God. Were you listening when she was speaking to you about who you really are? Were you listening to the goddess when she told you none of this is real and all of it is real? Were you listening to God when he told you, I am you? Were you listening to God when she said, even when you forget me, I never forget you? Were you listening to God when it opened the door? Were you listening to God when she closed the door? Were you listening to what God was telling you in the whispers of your heart? Were you listening to what God was telling you when you had that crazy thought? Were you listening to God, what God was telling you whenever you felt you were crazy? Were you listening to God when she told you you are crazy? Were you listening to God when he said, all of this I am? All of this I am. All of this I am that I am. Until next time, from my heart to yours, the divine in me sees, loves, and honors the divine in you. Namaste. We are